Good morning, everybody. I am up late today. I was up late talking to my friend. She lives in the Middle East, and so we were just up late chit-chatting and having a blast. Of course, for her, it was in the morning, but for me, it was late at night. So I slept in this morning, woke up sometime around 7:30. I wasn't quite paying attention to my clock. So I'm right now out taking the dog for his walk. I'm going to get home and do, breakfast, all the things that I normally do in the morning, and get started. See that white in the background behind the telephone poles? Those are the mountains. I'm telling you, I love my neighborhood in the morning. Here's an even better view. And of course the bus is blocking the view from downtown. So that's alright. It is really going to be a gorgeous day here in Denver. It's about 30 right now, but weather reports say it's going to get up to 50. And if I had my bearings and my really sticky skates, I would totally be out skating the neighborhood today. It is 5 after 9. I'm starting breakfast, and we will just keep moving forward today. I have to remember it takes me about 20 minutes to make breakfast. So why do I take a big chunk of my day to cook breakfast and make something nice? Well, the big reason is that, one, I'm gluten-free, and gluten-free cereal is really expensive, and I don't want to pay for it. The other reason is that cereal largely doesn't hold me, so even though it's really fast, by the time 10:30 rolls around, I'm hungry again, and I need something that has more staying power. So I cook a really healthy breakfast so that I have the longevity to work throughout the morning, to not have to get sidetracked by the day, and to also save a few extra bucks. It is almost 11 o'clock. I've spent the last, oh good grief, like 2 hours working on getting things on YouTube. I've also been coordinating some of the things that are going on for my week and adding some new things. I've got coffee with a friend of mine and a phone call with a friend of mine on Monday, getting that planned out, updating my calendar so that that's going to start pinging on my phone properly. Just organizing. I've got a few of the things I want to do, and then I'm going to jump into the review for that YouTube show, and then I'm going to try again and download that GoPro footage, and then I've got tasks that I want to do for Renegade, things that include getting my social media up together, doing some local lead research, and I also got to do my finances for the last couple months, so those will be fun. So something that cracks me up is when I get emails from people who either think that because I'm an entrepreneur that I must be looking for another opportunity to get into, or from PR teams that just blanket email my company and say, hey, we have a product. If you are a news organization, surely that you want to promote our product. And so the reality is that my company's not a news promotional company. I create promotional materials for companies and products. So I just got one of these emails the other day from a company that is launching an Indiegogo project for customizable bath bombs. And so they totally were reaching out to me saying, hey, we'd love to get you, what do they say right here? We'd love to get the word out through media, guest posts, podcast appearances, product reviews, etc. Let me know if you have any questions. So rather than just deleting their email, I'm going to return energy with energy, and I'm sending them out an email that's basically saying, hi, thank you for your email. My company specializes in providing video marketing strategy and marketing assets to companies just like yours. Here's the note, people. If you're going to email an entrepreneur or another company, do your homework. Seriously. If they respond to this, I'll be pleasantly surprised, but this is kind of my tongue-in-cheek, let's put your foot back in your mouth because you didn't do your homework on what my company actually does. Okay, I have most of my dishes cleaned up from lunch, and now I'm going to hit that review on. And the best thing about working from home is that nobody can tell you that you can't work in roller skates. Alright, it's 10 past 2. I'm currently working on this review project for Dad's On, and I just got off the phone with the producer for this. And the reason why is because the project files that he sent me, I was having a hard time opening up on my system. This is where knowing the software and the systems that you use is absolutely critical. It's one thing to know how to push buttons. It's entirely another thing to know how to solve problems. Now, thankfully, Google is a really good help with this, but there's also other workarounds, and if you know those answers, you can keep going. And so I was able to talk to him, able to to get a different version of this file, able to import it into my system, and so now I'm just downloading all of the video footage so I can hook everything back up and actually review this. But the thing here is know your systems, know what you have, know how to use them, and especially know beyond actually pushing the buttons to make stuff, know how to problem solve. And there are thousands of resources out there. For me, because I work in Adobe, there's 1,000 different forums around that can help me figure out my issues, but know where to go find that. Know where a reputable source is, know who to talk to when you have an issue. I'm busy waiting for the footage to finish syncing up to my computer so I can review the project for Dad on. I've got a Casey Neistat and Gary V video up. This is from a few years ago. And I'm going to get started on doing Renegade's financial numbers for the last month, just to get that done. I do a lot of it on paper, but I'm probably also going to show you some of the other stuff that I use just to do some of the rough calculations. Something that a lot of people don't understand when they say that they want to start a business is the finances. And this is largely due to the idea that when you bring home a paycheck, you don't have to worry about it. Like, you bring home a paycheck, you put it in your checking account, you're able to use it. Everything's fine and dandy. So everybody assumes that once you start making money that you do the same thing. You hand over a product in exchange for cash and you get to throw that money in your bank account and you're good, right? No. The reality is that if you live in the United States, you've got to pay Uncle Sam. If you live anywhere else, you've got to pay whoever uncle is who you pay. Taxes are the big thing. When you work for an employer, your taxes are automatically deducted from your paycheck. You don't have to do anything about it. And your employer is also paying part of your taxes for you. Ain't that nice? When you are in business for yourself, you get to pay for the whole lump sum, and it comes out of that cash that you first make when you hand over product. So, there's a couple of different ways to deal with this, and I am by no means a tax professional, so don't quote me on this. But the way that it sometimes works is that you can take business expenses out of your gross income to then be able to tax a lesser amount of money. And this is something that a lot of businesses do in an effort to keep as much cash in the bank as much as they can. I don't do this method often, and the reason why is that I like having a nice big chunk of money to put aside to pay Uncle Sam in one lump sum, and then if I have extra left over, I call that my income tax money. I kind of wanted to give you a quick overview of how I do this on paper. The reality is that I do have QuickBooks and I do a bunch of things in there, but I like to do things on paper just to get a look at what actually happened. In every single business, you're going to have income and you're going to have expenses. This is all the money that I made in September, and that comes out as gross. Now, this is what's referred to as the top line, and i.e. the top of a ledger when you're doing it. And then you have expenses. These are all of my expenses, and you can see very clearly that my expenses were greater than my gross. Now, the type of accounting method that I use is called the cash accounting method. If you have a general checking account, you do the exact same thing. When money comes in, it goes into the account. When money goes out, it goes out of the account. When that happens. There's another type called the accrual method, which basically everything gets counted later. So like it's confusing. I don't do it. It's very confusing. So this is what I do on paper. After you have calculated how much you made, your gross, your top line number, what I do next is deduct my taxes. Now, this is on average about 30%. The exact amount actually changes depending upon what you're doing. And that just depends upon your business, depends upon all kinds of stuff. A tax accountant will help you figure that out better. But I put away 30%, and then, which is this number, and then this is how much I get left over after taxes. Now, what then I do after that is deduct my expenses from this number. And you can tell I have $1,100 more of expenses in the month of September. And the reason for this is that I've been waiting on a paycheck to clear from one of my clients. It has been extremely late, and so my cash flow the past couple months has been extremely tight, which is super frustrating. So this is just a really brief look at the things that I have paid for and what I have made. This is by no means an average month, but this definitely is something that happens, and you have to be prepared to cover months where you've made a whole lot less than you've actually been able to expense out. And so you've got to make sure that you have cash in the bank to cover expenses. Like some of these was for people that I had to pay to get that project done that I'm waiting for that paycheck for. And some of it you have to just have in reserve. And so this benefit of cash flow is something that is really challenging for a lot of new businesses to understand. But it is critical to you being able to survive and pay for all the things that you need to pay for in an effort to actually do your business. Yay, enchiladas for supper. Well, enchilada casserole, really. Your shirt says camera crew, but I'm holding the camera.
I'm also not a photographer anymore. At work.
At work, he's not one. So Robo and I are going to eat, and then we're going to head out. We are going to a fundraiser at a roller skating rink with some of our friends that we've been hanging out with. We're going to eat these delicious enchilada casseroles, and we're going to go have some fun. And I'll probably show you some of the stuff that's happening on the skate floor just because I'm a roller skater. You know, you guys have been seeing it anyway. So, yeah, we're looking forward to going to that fundraiser and hanging out tonight. Right, Robo?
Yes.